Ciao everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Anonora Romanini. I'm a registered migration agent here in Perth, Western Australia, and the agency I manage is Green Wings Migration. Today's topic is about partner visas. So everything you need to know to understand what partner visas are, what kind of partner visas exist in Australia, how you can apply for them, what kind of documents it's better for you to put together in order to support a strong and validly applied partner visa, as well as the most common problems that partner visas may face, which in some cases could lead to a visa being denied. But first thing first, let's go back a little bit and let's understand the fundamental difference between visas that exist in Australia. Sometimes during consultation, I met people who were asking me, how can I apply for a partner visa with my partner? But then it turned out that both partners were temporary visa holders. So just on a very technical level, but I think it's good knowledge to have. In Australia, you have proper partner visas where one of the partner is an Australian citizen, permanent residence, or eligible New Zealand citizen, and this is the kind of partner visas we're going to talk about today. On the other hand, you have partners of an existing temporary visa, which could be a student visa, sponsor visa, another kind of visa. Okay, so big difference because obviously these two visa frameworks lead to different outcomes for you as the visa applicant. Now let's talk about proper partner visa. So as I said, if you are the visa applicant, it means you are the person who does not have Australian citizenship, permanent residency, right? So your partner, who is an Australian citizen or as an Australian permanent resident, or again, an eligible New Zealand citizen, will function as your sponsor. They support you in your journey to Australia thanks to the family and loving relationship that exists between you two. So for simplicity, probably during the course of this video, I will refer to your partner simply as sponsor, okay? So it does not confuse your ideas too much, but just, be mindful that being an Australian citizen is not necessarily the entry level, the basic criterion for your sponsor to support you. Now, within this proper partner visa sphere, we have two main groups. So we have the onshore partner visas and the offshore partner visas. As the name suggests, something that distinguishes them is a location for someone, that someone being you as the visa applicant. So if you are going to apply for your partner visa from inside Australia, then we are talking about an onshore partner visa that's called 820-801 combination. On the contrary, if you are physically offshore when we lodge your visa, then we are talking about the offshore partner visa option, which combines 309 and 100 visa. Why do I refer to combined applications? Because when we lodge a partner visa, on a practical level, we are lodging two visas at the same time. However, the department, before granting permanent residency to anyone, wants to really make sure that the relationship is genuine, truthful, in place for a certain amount of time. So they will make a decision on the temporary component of the partner visa first, which could be your 820 or 309. And later on down the track, they will also make a determination on the permanent component, which is either the 801 or 100 visa. Now, if we consider the two different options, it's undeniable that lodging an onshore partner visa is much more convenient and gives you many more benefits compared to an offshore option. Primarily because you are with your partner in Australia, so you don't run the risk to be separated for any amount of time. Secondly, once you lodge your visa from onshore, the system generates a bridging visa. This is a temporary visa that stays in place for as long as the department needs to make a determination and proceed with an outcome on your visa application. While this bridging visa is active, you will have full working rights, so you can work full-time, part-time, casual, whichever suits you, even opening a business with an ABN if you want to. Full study rights, so if you want to deepen your knowledge and expand your qualification, then you can. And you have the right to enroll in Medicare, which is, very important, especially if you're planning enlarging your family. So if you want to have children, being covered by Medicare is certainly a safety net. Now, may not be always possible to lodge an onshore partner visa. Okay, so you may, your nationality in many cases influence your ability to be in Australia with your sponsor and to lodge an onshore partner visa option. So this is why it's really important to have an honest conversation with a migration agent or a migration lawyer. Explain them your plans, explain them your circumstances, receive an opinion about what is the most convenient route and strategy for you to put in place in order to achieve the ultimate goal of being with your partner. Okay? There are several strategies that can be put in place. I will talk about them in a separate video because it's quite an intense and extensive topic to cover, so we don't really have space in this specific video, but don't worry about it, we will get back to it. So now, let's say that we have chosen whichever visa option suits you best, and let's say that it's an onshore partner visa, but that's also true for an offshore partner visa. We now need to determine what kind of relationship is going to be claimed and used for this visa application. So obviously you might be married, you might be in a de facto relationship. Something that sometimes happens is that people are engaged. Remember please that being engaged is not a good position for a proper partner visas. There are other visas that suit an engaged relationship. But if you want to lodge an A20 or a 309 application, you have to be either married or in a de facto relationship. Married, pretty self-explanatory. You need to be married with your partner, and you need to have married in a legislation that is recognized by Australia. If you are in a de facto relationship, that primarily means that you and your partner live together. So you share the same address. You also have a commitment to share your finances. You are not ashamed of your relationship, so you openly declare it to, the rest of the society, your friends, your family members. And also, you have a genuine mutual commitment to live your life together as a family, as a committed couple, okay? The biggest difference, however, between a de facto relationship and the married relationship is for how long this relationship should have been in place on the day that we lodge the application. Because there is an expectation that a de facto relationship should have been in place for at least 12 months on the day that the application is lodged. Married couples, they can have been married for a shorter amount of time. So, for example, you married 2 months ago and you now want to lodge a partner visa. This application is valid because you don't have to have been married for 12 months before lodging your application. But being married does not waive your need to still show living together, financial commitment, social recognition, and mutual commitment as well. Okay, so it's about the timing. De facto, 12 months, married, however long you have been married for, but still always give evidence of your cohabitation, financial sharing, social recognition, and mutual commitment. Now, in Australia, there are certain states that allow de facto couples to register their relationship. So if you are in a state that allows de facto relationship to be registered, then that certificate of registration will function effectively as a marriage certificate. So again, de facto couple with a registered relationship may have been in this registered relationship for shorter amount of time than 12 months, still demonstrating commitment, they can apply for their partner visa. Something that's very positive in Australia is that same-sex couples are not discriminated for partner visas. So if you are in a same-sex relationship, whether you are in a de facto relationship or spousal relationship, you can actually lodge your partner visa and your visa will not be adversely affected by the fact that you are in a same-sex relationship. So thumbs up for Australia. Now, what documents do you have to provide to cover these 4 big areas of evidence? As I said, cohabitation, so living together, is the most important, okay? Obviously, there is an expectation that committed couples do live together, unless there are maybe cultural barriers that prevent that to happen. So if there is a reasonable way for you to explain why you and your partner or your spouse cannot live together, it's a different story, and the narrative about your relationship will be very different with the department. But let's say there are no problems of this sort, then what we are looking for. Certainly, if you are in a rental arrangement and you have a rental agreement in place, that is very strong evidence. But sometimes your sponsor owns the house where you live, so there is no agreement, no arrangement that shows that you're also living at that address. In that case, we can look at mail that you receive at the address, or your bank statement. Even if you receive bank statements online, you still communicate to your bank where you're living, and on a monthly basis, when the PDF statement is issued, on the normally top left corner, you have your name and your address. You might order online. You might order food delivery through apps services. You might use even, like Uber, for example, or Grab, or to move around or call a taxi. You have in the app the location where you are most frequently picked up from. So we can use that to show that you are living in that area, that you're living at that address. If you receive even, flowers, gifts online from your partner, from your family, from your friends, everything that is delivered to your house, whether it's an object or an envelope or a subscription to some sort of newspaper, whatever it is, keep it on the side, because this will be something that is very important in your partner visa application to show that you and your sponsor are effectively at the same address at the same time. This is also very true when you live in a shared accommodation arrangements where maybe you don't have a real agreement with the landlord. It's okay, as long as you can show through documents, through items delivered, that you are there, they are going to accept it. The second most important category is your financial sharing, your financial commitment. I believe that there is a bit of a misunderstanding about what it means. So I sometimes come across couples who go to the bank and they open a joint bank account because they read it on Facebook that having a joint bank account is necessary, compulsory, fundamental for a partner visa application. Having a joint bank account certainly helps, but if you open the joint account for the sake of it and you don't use it, it's equivalent of not having one, okay? So the criterion is not having a joint account. The criterion is showing that you jointly participate to the financial well-being of the couple. And that is totally up to you the way you do it. It could be a 50-50 equal split. It could be that the person with the better work situation provides more, while the other can only contribute in minimal portion. Or maybe one of the two parties pays for everything, literally everything, because the other one contributes to the couples in a different way. So maybe the other person, is a stay-at-home, looks after the children, looks after the house, while the other person works full-time. So whichever is the arrangement that you want to use for your own couple, as long as you can explain why it is the way it is, the department cannot really discriminate you on that, because fortunately, luckily, we're free to do whatever we want with our money. Bank account, financially speaking, is one of the things that you can use to show commitment, but it may also be a joint credit card, for example, or a joint account that you use for savings only, and everyday spending is done through your individual accounts. So if you have individual accounts, you can provide statements from those individual accounts, and on the statements you can highlight who pays for what. So maybe the arrangement is that one of The person pays for the rental or the mortgage, and the other one takes care of all the groceries or all the utilities. And this is how you figure it out. It's the best way for your daily spending. It's fine, absolutely. Third thing, extremely important, social recognition. So some people are thrown off by the fact that, oh, we're not a social couple. We don't have a joint Facebook profile, or we don't post on Facebook every day. Yes, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so being social doesn't necessarily mean being on social media. Clearly, again, it's the same as for the joint bank account. If you post regularly on social media and your posts are about your relationship, your couple, the things that you do together, it's easier to give evidence of this criterion, because social medias, they have the dates, and you may have added a little bit of a description of why you are there and why the picture was taken. But again, no one is obliged to have a social media account. So as long as you can show that for important events, for example, you share your time with your family, with your friends. At work, maybe for the end of financial year party, both have been invited. So is the person working there plus one, and the plus one is your partner. Travels together. Again, nights out at the cinemas, at the theater, with the tickets. Most tickets nowadays are per name. You may be part of your local church, so someone who knows you directly can actually write statements on your favor. You may be part of the same gym club or something else in the community, okay? And when it comes to show your relationship to the community, other people's support is very important. So you may ask people who know you, who have known the relationship, who have witnessed the development of this relationship, to write a statement on your to vouch for this relationship to be true and committed. Depending on the immigration status of the person writing the letter, they can use a form which is called Form 888. So if they are citizens or permanent residents, they can write on the Form 888 and they can explain why they think that your relationship deserves being granted a partner visa. That doesn't mean that people who are not Australian citizen or Australian permanent resident, they cannot write a statement on your behalf. So if you have a friend who's a temporary visa holder as well, or even someone who knows you very well but is overseas, they can simply write a statutory declaration or a statement that can be witnessed in the country where it was written, and this will be included in the package of evidence that is submitted with your partner visa application. Sometimes, people come from situations where they don't have much pictures, for example, or they don't go out as much because they simply don't like it. These are the cases where getting as many supporting statements as possible is very important. The last bit is about your mutual commitment, okay? So every couple is committed, otherwise you wouldn't be lodging a partner visa to begin with. The way you show this mutual commitment is normally through writing a statement. A statement is the narration of your relationship's development. So since it's very first incipient when you met, through all the way current times when you're about to lodge your partner visa, how did you meet? When did you decide that you wanted to be committed? What led you decide to go and live together, or what led you decide to get married? Maybe you are a more mature couple, so you also have children. Your commitments in raising these little human beings is obviously taken into consideration when determining the genuineness of your relationship. Mutual commitment is also having shared goals. So maybe you are a younger couple and you have plans for your future. So explain it to the case officer. Where do you see yourselves as a couple in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time? What getting this visa approved means for you as a couple? Because obviously once the non-Australian receives the visa, many more things can be achieved as a family, as a couple in Australia. It could be buying a house, investing in a business. Try to explain your story to someone. Always remember this: someone who has never met you, will never met you, but needs to decide about your future. So be as truthful as you can and as honest as you can as well. Now, last point that we need to cover for this particular visa, it's obviously costs and timing. Okay, partner visas are probably the most expensive visa application that you can apply for in Australia. Why is that? Good question. Probably on one hand, because it's kind of a definitive visa, right? So if you are in a relationship with someone, you pay this big chunk of money, but it's a one-off. You're never going to give money to the Australian immigration system anymore in the future. You're sorted. Another reason could be that if the application fee is high, less people will be tempted to fake a relationship just for the sake of getting an Australian visa. Whatever is the reason for the department to apply such a heavy fee, which is above $9,000 for this year, this is what we have to face, so be prepared. And especially because the fee is so expensive, don't think that just because you are married to someone, the visa will be approved. Or just because I've been with this person for 7 years, the visa will be approved. Always make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's and, make sure that everything is in line for a successful application. Especially because the time frame for approval is quite long. So you will be in that state of uncertainty for quite some time. Now, you may know that on the department's website, they have a tool which gives you an idea of how long your application is going to take to be processed from the day that you lodge it. That tool, it's a good starting point. It gives you good reference, but at the same time is not written in stone. So we may see many variances, especially between onshore and offshore. So onshore, regardless of where you live in every state, processing time is fairly accurate, what you see online, primarily because that's an Australia-wide system, so the applications, they all go into the same pool, and then they are assigned to the different case officer according to the day they were lodged, in chronological order basically, and they are processed according to volume. So the more applications come into the system, obviously the slower the process will be, because the number of case officers dealing with the application is pretty much always the same. When it comes to offshore partner visas instead, the different time frame is quite important, and what you see on the website is just the average of the entire world. So depending on where you are when you lodge an offshore partner visa, your application is going to be processed by a certain processing center which is overseas. So, example, if you are in Italy, your application is likely going to be processed in Berlin, which is the European office. If you are in the Philippines, it's likely to be processed in Manila. So there might be different internal time frames in these two offices, but what you see on the website is the average of their time frame. So when it comes to overseas applications, it's really a gambling to know how long it's going to take, which is also, as I said at the beginning, one of the reasons why an onshore partner visa is preferable. Because if you don't know how long you're going to be separated from your partner, you really just want to have the certainty to be together as soon as possible or for as long as possible. So the onshore partner visa is what will provide this solution for you. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you found this video interesting. Don't forget, as I mentioned, there's going to be another video about the problems that may arise around partner visa applications. But if you are in a situation where you're about to apply or you're thinking to apply for a partner visa and you would like to have an honest and expert opinion about your chances of approval, please feel free to reach out. I will leave the link to book a consultation with me or with one of my colleagues in the comment section. Feel free to explore the different consultation options that we have. See you next time.